Alright, here we go. This is mostly just a test for starting out on YouTube. Just sort of, I don't know really what to say about it. It's, if you're watching this, it's, yeah. Well, it's, I don't know, I just felt like starting this out as a little bit of a hobby and just seeing how it goes. But this is mostly to test out my recording and just to see what uploading's like, if my computer can even handle it, because I guess there's some other things that I don't really know yet. Anyway, so, hi. Not sure how to do that yet. Let's see. Alright, yeah, so I'll just get in on it, shall I? So, I'll be playing Total War Shogun 2. This will probably not be the only thing. Hopefully, Total War isn't the only thing that ends up being on my channel, because if I'm being 100% honest, Total War games, if I play them for too long, give me a headache, because just, well, I'm not very good at them. So, let's see. So, I'll be starting a new campaign. This is modded with the Raidon? I'm gonna have to, I'll look into see what that is, but it's a complete overhaul mod. New units, new functionalities, so if any of you have played Total War Shogun 2 before, this might not look exactly like what you're used to. So, yeah, let's just kind of jump into it. So, personally, I really like Fall of the Samurai, but I think I'm going to start with Shogun 2 because I haven't really tried. I've played a lot of Shogun 2 and Fall of the Samurai, and not so much Rise of the Samurai. It's just not really, just kind of not feeling it. But, I figure for a recording here, I haven't played extensively this mod for Shogun 2. I've been playing a campaign on Fall of the Samurai, but I figured, hey, if I'm gonna be testing this out and, yeah, you know, just sort of testing, I might as well do it as I test the mod in general and see if I really enjoy it. Now, you might notice game difficulty easy. I'll be bumping that up to normal. I usually play this at easy because, as I said, I'm not particularly good at video games in general, but Total War strategy game type stuff as well. And we'll see how long it takes before I die. Now, if we're playing base, like non-modded, I might actually have a chance at normal. But modded, I don't know, because I don't know entirely what I'm doing here. Though I may go with the Oda, because I really like the Oda. Anyways, sorry, I kind of skipped around a little bit. So yeah, so for those of you, in case anyone's watching this who hasn't played it, which I feel this is kind of niche, and since this is the first thing going up, I figure probably no one's going to see this anyway. And if you do watch it, it's probably because you either play or like Total War games. So it's a good chance that you have played this before. But these are your clans. Shogun 2 takes place, the base game takes place during the Sengoku Jidai, which is the period of time in Japanese history that most people think of when they think of, like, Japan, more or less. It's when the shogunate fully overthrows the imperial rule, because at this point in time, the emperor is still technically in control of all of Japan, but the various warlords and generals are the ones who actually have all the power. And so this war that they fight, the Civil War, it's kind of a civil war. I'm not entirely sure what you would call it. It's more like I guess you could call it a civil war, but it's less of like there's rebellion and then there's a force trying to maintain the order, like there is later during the Fall of the Samurai campaign, which I don't know if that, I'm sure that has a specific name, but where it was like basically rebels versus like shogun. This is more of a bunch of warlords fighting each other for ultimate control of Japan, because the emperor, everyone already knows the emperor has no power. So there's a short, probably incorrect history lesson, because I'm not a history scholar, but each clan has bonuses that they give. The Chosokabe. Oh, and I'll say this right now. If I say these names wrong, or without the correct accents or inflections or whatever, just ignore that, because I don't speak Japanese. So let's see. We got the Chosokabe. Their big thing is bows. In case you can't see, I wish I could spin this guy around a little bit. Like, just alright, whatever. Just like, dude, bugging me now. I don't know why, but no, you can kind of see he has a little bow there. And if you're just reading here, they have an increased income from farms, which is great, because each of these provinces that you see, kind of, I don't know how well your guys are going to be able to see that, but each of these little provinces has a farm on it. So it gives you a little bit of money, a little bit of food, and I'll get into that once we start playing the game. So they get more money from the farms. They also get to recruiting archers, and maintaining them is cheaper. And the archers, that not only are they cheaper than their basic counterparts, but they're actually better, just overall. Let's see, and that's the Chosokabe. I really like the Chosokabe because not only is the initial challenge easy, which is always nice, where was I going with this? Fuck, I don't know why my brain just went blank. Oh, I really like the ranged superiority. They don't shoot farther. I think in the base game, I don't know about this modded version, but I assume that the superior... I didn't notice, anyway, that the superior bow shot farther. They just had better accuracy. Namely better accuracy, and I think some better damage. But, once we start playing, you'll kind of notice that, generally speaking, when arrows hit a block of infantry, people just kind of die anyway, more or less, no matter what the damage of the bow is. Now, this does change over time, but accuracy and speed, at least in Fall of the Samurai, accuracy and speed is what you really look for ranged, because, yeah, whereas shit, my mind's going blank. I'm trying to sound smart, and I'm sounding like an idiot. Anyways, so that's the Chosokabe. The Shimazu are over on this little corner here. Oh, the Chosokabe are right here. In case you couldn't, like, sort of context clues figure that out, or you weren't looking at it. This is where the Chosokabe start, which is also a really nice thing, because if I, excuse me, if I manage to control this whole island, which is called something, and I don't remember what it is. If I manage to control this whole island, it's really easy to fortify this island, and then they can't get to my capital, and that's that's a bonus. The Shimazu are over here. They superior katana peoples, for samurais specifically, because they're katana like peasants. Which are called something else, and I'll get to that in a moment along here, because the Oda have the peasant bonus, but they have superior katanas and heroes and samurai. Okay, whatever. And then they have an increased loyalty for generals because of reasons. If you read this, they kind of justify what it is, but I'm not going to sit here and read it. The Hojo are siege masters and castle masters, and they're actually really cool. I liked them because I actually personally... Oh, and the Shimazu. My problem with the Shimazu is that you have to ultimately conquer basically this spot right here, and they're just way too far away. For my like the place I like, which is just spreading like a virus. They also, from the fact that you can kind of tell because they're like that cross, they actually get Christianity pretty quickly, which is religion's another mechanic in this game, which has to do with like whether or not your provinces are going to rebel against you and whatnot. So the Hojo are castle, and I really like what I like about the Hojo is that not only are they decently close, the Chosokabe are a little bit closer, but not only are they decently close, but I really love sieges. siege, fighting in a siege, fighting sieges. I love doing it. And the Hojo, that is their shit. That is what they do. They tear down walls and put them back up again stronger than when you tore them down, and it's fantastic. I'm interested to see what they've got in this mod pack, because I haven't, again, seen everything there is to offer in this mod pack, so we'll find out. The Mori are boat masters. They like boats, and I do not. Generally speaking, my biggest problem when I play the Chosokabe, for instance, is that I have a hard time remembering to maintain a navy, because I get so focused on my ground forces. And the Mori boat bonus just doesn't really drive well with the way I play, because, like I said, I just forget to build and maintain navies. It's just not really my thing. So, anyways, moving on. The Oda, Ashigaru, that was the word for peasant I was looking for earlier. And again, that's probably wildly mispronounced. But the Oda get better. Well, they don't get better Ashigaru. They get cheap Ashigaru, like cheaper, because the Ashigaru are already basically the cheapest things in this game. But they get cheaper Ashigaru, and instead of just getting better stats, the Ashigaru have better morale, which is how quickly they'll break once they start fighting. Like, break as in, like, run away and, like, retreat and give up and whatnot. The Date, like the Nodachi. The Nodachi is this big two-handed katana sword, because, like, if you come over here to Shimazu, I don't know why I clicked, like, all of them on the way, but if you come over here to Shimazu, this is what most people think of as a, like, Japanese katana-style sword, and it's called something. I used to know the different names for them, but I don't anymore, because there's, like, Wakizashi, something. I don't know. It's not my area of expertise, per se. Anyways, I don't know why I'm stroking that sword. But the Nodachi is, like, the massive one. And these guys, the Date, get even better Nodachi. But the thing about the Nodachi, and the reason I don't really like... Well, the main reason I don't like playing as a Date is because they start way the hell over here. So it's hard to push your way here, and you might think, oh, this isn't too much of a problem because of these provinces. They look pretty big, right? Unlike over here where there's lots of tiny provinces. Well, part of the problem with this is that it's a lot of empty space to be moving through, to move your armies through, and it takes a while. They're one of the ones that benefit from having, like, a navy where I could, like, pop them on the boats off of either side or whatever, and then just go down, because the boats travel faster along the coast than the armies do on the land. And then there's the Takeda, but like I said, I'm not a boatman. Other than that, the Nodachi, their main jam, their thing, is to charge. And charging is also not really... It's not that I don't like charging my units into battle, it's just that I generally speaking, turtle, and I'm sure people will be mad at me for doing it. Anyways, then there's the Takeda, who are all about horses. Just horses, all horses. Good horses. And so they do cavalry. Now, while cavalry is kind of important, and it's really great because they do things like the charge with the Nodachi, but you can move them. Since they're faster, they move around, you can charge them into the back and stuff, so that they're like hammer and anvil. It's just not really... Again, I tend to use so little in the way of cavalry that using the Takeda is just not... Their bonus just doesn't benefit me as much as, say, like, the Chosokabe or the Hojo or the Oda. Because the Oda is fantastic. I love just as many cheap army stacks of Ashigaru as I possibly can. It's fantastic. And here's the Tokugawa, which, for those of you who know a little bit more about the Japanese history that I was mentioning earlier, Tokugawa is ultimately the one who comes out of this on top. The Oda wins, technically. But the Tokugawa come out on top because of some kind of just bullshit politics type stuff that happens, which is unfortunate but kind of cool in this as well. But the Tokugawa have reduced upkeep and recruitment for ninjas. Specifically, this thing called a Kisho ninja, which in the base game there's only one type of ninja unit. The little bit of play I did on this for Shogun 2, it seems like they have more ninja units, so I can only assume that the mod extends this benefit from the Kisho ninja to all the ninjas. And then, of course, they have a increase to the chance of the Metsuki, which is a type of agent that you get, which are dudes that walk around. You can do cool stuff with them. They're not an army. Like, an army can't get them and fight them and stuff, but they can have effects on armies and stuff. Then there's the Uesugi. The Uesugi I haven't played too extensively, but their cool thing is monks. They have better monks, warrior monks specifically, because there's 2 different types of monks in the base game. There's the archers, the bow monks, and then the warrior monks. And I think there's a difference, or no, there's a Yari monk and warrior monk. I don't remember exactly, but if my memory serves correctly, this superior warrior monk in the basic version of this game only is one type of unit, the warrior monk unit. So for this one, I think I might go with the Oda, because they're right there and just spamming it. But then again, if I play the Oda, I won't really see as much as I won't see everything this mod has to offer, because I'll never have to really build much of anything to get Ashigaru. So I might go with the Hojo just because they're badass, and I really like the Hojo. The only problem with the Hojo is that siege units in basic Shogun 2 is I don't really like using them. They're really inaccurate, and they're really not that useful, and they slow down your army a lot. So what I might have to do, we'll go with the Hojo. So at the beginning of the Shogun 2 stuff, whenever you start a new game, you've got there's a cutscene. And what's really cool about it is that even though there's the basic cutscene, which is the same every single time, there's also a little extra on the end, which shows specifically for the clan that you're doing. Like for the Chosokabe, it mentions, oh, you're great bowmen and awesomeness, and for the Oda, it's like the Ashigaru, the peasants love you, and all this. And then for the Hojo, they're like, they say something about the castles. We'll find out, because we'll watch it. Here we go.
1545. This is Sengoku Jidai, the age of the country at war. For 200 years, the Ashikaga shoguns have ruled from Kyoto. Great splendor and power were theirs. Now the overmighty clans no longer obey. The time has come for a new warlord to become shogun. But who will be victorious? Hojo lands have always provided for our people. Our enemies are many and envious. They threaten our borders and look for any weakness. Our castles are strong, the envy of Japan. We are rightly admired as master builders. Strong walls, strong souls. Our siege engines are equally mighty. Nothing stands before them. Bishamonten, the war god, has woken. Now is the time to defeat our enemies. All will bow to the Hojo clan. We wait no longer. Destiny calls!
Okay, so the thing I am going to talk over is what this guy's doing. Is he's giving sort of a basic introduction to, like, oh, here's where you start. You know, these guys don't like you. These guys are your friend. You should deal with these guys that don't like you before dealing with these guys who are your friends, because they might not be your friends forever. And it's like, okay, cool, well, thanks. And then, of course, there's these missions, which you can think of as like your general quests. Some of them have are timed, some of them are not. From the beginning, most of them are not timed. But after what you can think of as like the intro bits, they start getting timed. Like the following army, the defeat an army belonging to the following clans: that the Ogi Gagyatsu, fuck it, which are probably these guys. Like, I don't remember. Yeah, there you go. Shut up. Okay. Yeah, it's these guys with Musashi, which I think this is actually where Tokyo is, funnily enough. Generally, maybe. I don't remember, but Musashi is one of the two important provinces in Fall of the Samurai, which I might play a little afterwards. And then here's the Ogi Gyatsu. Now, for those of you who do play Total War Shogun 2, but have not played the Radeon mod, you'll notice this is really cool. They actually color coded the things. Now, I'm colorblind mildly, so I don't know if this green and that green are different, or if they're actually both green or not. But the symbol behind them, and this is like range, this is cavalry, this is spearmen, specifically spearmen. And if someone reads Japanese, they could probably tell me that this might actually mean spear, this might actually mean bow, or like be the representation of it. No. Okay, so looking at it, here's a quick rundown for this first episode of how to play Total War from my understanding of it. Here's where we start seeing whether I'm a complete moron or just somewhat dumb. Alright, so here's my capital. You can tell it's a capital because it's got a little house there. Otherwise, it won't have it. So, looking at some of this stuff, that circle there is the religion. So here we are Buddhist. That's the Buddhist wheel. I don't know enough about Buddhism to tell you a whole lot about the wheel, but you can probably find videos of it on YouTube. This guy next to it is a face, and it tells me how happy the settlement is. If I click this, here's the big face. I am not going to go into all of this nonsense because, well, it'll become important later. But public order, that's what this face represents. Now, we're neutral because we have 0 public order, which is good, I guess. It means that the negatives don't outweigh the positives, so there's no chance of rebellion. But it's still not a very good thing. So what you want to do is you want to put some dudes here. And they will help. They'll add more to this. The positive bonuses. It won't be repression. I think it's like military presence or something like that. We'll find out. But these Yari peasants, which is they're spear peasants. Yari is, I guess, is a Japanese spear of some sort. I couldn't tell you all the differences, but the cool thing about the Hojo, I think my favorite thing about the Hojo is that your capital has this gold mine here, which is a huge boon early on for cash. We will make lots of money really quick. Now, okay, so what we're looking at now. Okay, so just going down the line. The other thing I did was roads. That will make, as long as my unit is traveling along the road, it'll make them move faster from place to place. And then, of course, here's that farm I talked about. It gives me this basic farm, the rice paddy, gives me 750 gold a turn and provides 1 food. The food is important because that will determine how big of a fort we can have. Not only how big of a fort we can have, but some other buildings use food. Like, for instance, one of these over here. There it is, the market. It doesn't use food at the beginning, but it's level 2 and 3, because you level up these buildings, they start using up food. And yeah, okay, so here is the town portion. This is the province, which is just all the stuff in the province. It's the bonuses for holding it. So like the gold mine, the farm, and the road, which if I click on does nothing. But then there's the actual town portion, which has 2 construction sites because we're at a fort level, which is the town level. The more we upgrade this, the more food it uses. It will also allow us to recruit more dudes over here. As you can see, it unlocks the recruitment. Right now we can only recruit the Yari Ashigaru, but if we were to level it up 1, we would be able to get the mounted katana, the mounted Yari, both Ashigaru, the Naginata Ashigaru, and the Lone Sword Ashigaru. As well as the Bow Ashigaru and the Matchlock Ashigaru, but we can't get them because we do not have the technology yet. We have to research it. So let's get on that. So that's the basic idea behind the walls. So here you can also see some other symbols have popped up. The symbol right here, this is the recruitment symbol. It means that there are units being recruited here, and this symbol here is the construction symbol. It means that I'm building stuff in this province. The last bit, because I'm looking at it right now, is this right here. This is how much gold the province produces, and the arrow means that it's actually going down. We are at a deficit. It is not growing. Specifically, it's not growing, which is because of the tax level. Because if we had better farming or some of the other things that increase growth, which is a keyword that isn't highlighted, but you'll begin to notice it's very important. Also, one of these is my daimyo, and I think it's him. You're coming to the capital, because I would prefer to have you there. But, we're gonna get a dude here, because I'm guessing... Oh, no. You... Oh, that's right. So, when there's dudes in your province who are trying to, like, take over, but it's 100%... But your province is loyal to you, you have the resistance to invaders buff, because they like you being here, or they don't like the enemy being here, and so if you deal with that, sadly the bonus goes away. But at the same time, it's like, well, it's for the best, really. So this is the technology trees. There's the Way of Chi, which is like your economic and social sort of trees, and then the Bushido, which is the war and units and whatnot. It unlocks all sorts of things. So first thing we're going to need to do, because it's going to be a quest pretty quickly, is get the strategy of attack. Now if you just click down, it'll just automatically go. Sadly, I can't queue them up. I just have to click and then it'll figure it out on its own. But generally speaking, usually I like going for the Todo Fuken first, because it's a minus 5% upkeep cost for all of my armies and navies, plus I get the upgraded road, plus I get access to the market, which is a money-making building, and a 1% bonus to clan-wide tax rate. However, there's also a argument to be made of getting the strategy of attack, which, since we're playing the Hojo and we're going to be making a decent amount of money pretty quick because of this gold mine, I will go for the strategy of attack first, because we're not hurting too bad for cash. So the other buttons here, this is finance. This shows us like how much we're making on taxes versus how much we're spending. So it shows us the sort of gross income, as it were, the gross adjusted income, or I don't remember exactly how it is, but and then this here shows us our trade routes, what we're importing, what we're importing. I don't think we can see what we're exporting. We're just paying them 89, and they're giving us horses. And this war horse it's important because all of these things we have to have them in order to have access to certain buildings later on. Now the war horses don't really matter because I'm not really going to go down the cavalry route, especially because with this mod, apparently there are mounted Ashigaru we can get straight through the stronghold. So, and mainly my deal will be for these guys is going to be this engineer's workshop, which is going to give us our siege units, and then some of these other ones, which will be the Yari drill yard, which is going to be a thing we need, and the archery dojo, because like I said, I like me some range superiority. Hence the archery dojo. The Yari is mostly for the defensive units, because I find the Yari samurais and whatnot, they're actually really good at defending against charges, just because, charging into spears is not a good idea. So, clicked on him, he moves across the map, which now, any of you who aren't familiar with how this works, you can now see, and the sound seems to have become much louder, so hopefully I am still at a decent level. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to start projecting a little bit more. But, so you can see that when I clicked, I moved, hence why my problem with the Date of having all that empty space. Yeah, I don't have to fight my way over as much, but there's so much space to just move my army of doing nothing. But, yeah, so this is the battle deployment screen. Here's the enemy army, here's my army. Practically the same thing. They have cavalry, I have Yari samurai, and then, of course, I have my general, but they don't have a general at all. This guy here that you're seeing as a general, that's actually this guy, one of the guys in the light cavalry unit. However, since they're light cavalry instead of a general, they don't have all the special abilities that the general has. This here is showing the strength of my force versus the strength of the opposing force. You can kind of use this to gauge vaguely who's gonna win, but especially when, like me, because if you're bad, I usually play on easy, this is normal, you can still win, even if it's way out of your favor, because this bar isn't always 100% accurate, because the AI might make some stupid decisions, or alternatively, they might have better units than you, or just more units that are worse than yours, or less units that are better or something. I don't know. Shogun 2, it's not as big of a problem. I've heard it's a lot more of a problem in some of the more recent ones, like the Total War Warhammer, where this is basically, you can't trust this at all. Yeah, so let's fight. Oh, there's some more data and info there, but I guess I can get into that later. This is quickly becoming more of a tutorial than it is just me playing the game and recording myself for just to test out putting up. So anyways, since this is apparently becoming, I'm just gonna come over here and turn this down a little bit. No, I'm not. Will I? No, because then all sound will stop. Because I don't. Yeah, no. Okay, this is a problem. Okay, so anyways, so fuck it. It'll be what it is. This recording is probably going to end right after I do this combat, because it'll be at a decent amount of time. Because it looks like we're at 33-ish minutes. So at the end of this combat, we'll be closer to 35, 40. Yeah, and then I'll just record, then I'll see what it is, how it ended up being towards the end here. And then, yeah, seeing how that goes. Anyways, so here is the weather conditions. Since I attacked, I get to decide when I attack. You have 3 chances. The current weather is dry. There's no effects from it being dry weather. The other effects you can get, like if it was winter, you could get it snowing or being in a blizzard, snowstorm. You could also get it raining, all sorts of things, and they have slightly different effects. Now, there's no real reason. I'm not looking for a specific effect in this one, so I'm just gonna start deployment. Oh yeah, so yeah, here we go.
Katanaは抜いた。敵方に一人でも生き残りがいる限り、この刀鞘には収めぬ。すべてはお家のためじゃ。我が敵は奴らの領主と一門に忠誠を誓う勇敢な侍どもだ。 あの者どもを滅ぼすとなると心が痛むが、これも運命のなせる技。仕方なかろう。鬼門から戦場に入ってしまったが、なぜか敵がそれを見ておじけづいとるようじゃ。我が陣営に鬼神が取り付いたとでも思い込んどるのかもの。これだけは約束する。戦が終わったら忙しくなる。跳ねた敵の首を集めて数えんとならんからな。
Alright, so I forgot that happened. That is something that's going to happen every time we have a fight, because our general gives a little pep talk, which I think is really cool. Anyways, so this is kind of how I like doing things, just moving everything out of the way, and we're going to start with bows up front, turn on skirmish mode, which means that when things get close to them, they're going to back up. But until things get... I feel like this mod pack has changed certain textures and costumes, because I don't remember seeing these sweaty sleeveless guys, which I'm actually really digging. These guys look badass. They look way more badass than a bunch of peasant archers have any right to look, if I'm being honest. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, dude, you're fucking ripped, and you have shoulder pads and everything. You're just so cool you're not using the fucking shirt and shit. Like, goddamn. You got this fingerless gloves and shit. Anyway, I need to stop. I need to stop. My gaze coming out. Anyways, not there's anything wrong with that. I personally am, well, if I'm being 100% honest, I go both ways. It doesn't really, not really something that's important to me. Anyways, that's also not necessarily relevant. Anyways, I'm saying anyways a lot. It's because I'm panicking, because I'm saying stupid shit. Anyways, so this is kind of how I like doing it, because if I have the archers up front and I toggle their skirmish mode, so that when things enter in here, they're gonna start firing, and then when they get too close, they'll back up, and then when they back up, the guys charging the bowmen, as they back up, will run into the spears, because they'll just back up through the spears. And then I tend to put the general a little closer, so that his little sphere of influence, this is his radius of influence, encompasses my lines, and he can do other things. Anyways, so the other thing is the Yari Ashigaru, because I'm not sure why the samurai don't do this. I assume it's a balancing issue, maybe. But the Yari Ashigaru have this thing called the Yari Wall, which is what I have them set up in now. I'll just pop it off. So, see how when they're just kind of not doing anything, they're just kind of standing around, you know? They're like, okay, cool, here's my long spear, and, you know, I'm just standing around waiting for the enemy to show up, right? Well, if I toggle them to the Yari Wall, they haven't taken position yet, but, you see how they all scrunch up? Well, what's gonna happen when we start is you'll see that the first, like, one or two lines of these guys are gonna put their spears forward. Like, just kind of like sticking them out. Because the idea is that they're sticking out their spears so that if anything charges them from the front, they just run into the spears. Because, you know, they're being held at spear length. The main issue with this is that if something comes spinning around way out here, you know, swinging around, and attacks them from the side or from the front, they're all clumped up. So they're all going to get hit. And this fight's going to go way past 40 minutes. The other one, okay, this one. This is rapid advance. It makes them run faster. And these guys are samurais. So this is the samurai unit using the same weapon as the peasant unit. So you kind of just visually can see a little bit of difference between them. Namely, that these guys have awesome helmets. Personally, I prefer the Ashigaru helmet just because I have a thing for those cone hats. The rice patty hats, I think they're called. But they have samurai helmets, and they're red instead of black. They have red armor, which changes a little bit clan to clan. What mainly changes is the clothes they're wearing underneath, the color, because it'll match your clan's color to an extent. But yes, so oh yeah, this makes them run faster, and it's an activated ability, so I have to click on it to make it happen. However, in this case, I have it set up, that little button there will make it auto-cast when it becomes relevant. Like if I were to tell them to charge someone, they'll click this. And by right-clicking on it, you can see it kind of lights up. That makes it auto-cast. The general has a handful of abilities. Regroup, which means if any of these guys break and become cowards and start running away, they'll first run to this regroup position, and if they hit the regroup position and they're going to, like, rally so that they don't run away and just plain run off the field, they will... They'll hang out here and be like, okay, cool, we're ready to get back into the fight because we're not panicking anymore. Then he has the actual rally ability, which unit can rally troops within its area of influence shown. All non-routing units within will receive a morale boost, and once this ability has been activated, you will have to wait a while before using it again. It has a cooldown. Then there's Inspire, which is pick a specific unit, and it does more or less the same thing as what Rally does, but to a specific unit, and I think it's a better one. And then Second Wind is they get, you can kind of see it here, some of that little black box, you see some info there. It says stationary, not in combat, confident, fresh. You'll start seeing that as the battle goes on. That fresh will start changing to like fatigued. Well, this gives them less fatigue, I believe. Yeah, reduces fatigue of the activating unit and affects 3 units within its area of influence, which is the red circle, not the blue circle, sadly, for these guys. So anyway, so let's start the battle. So they did what I kind of thought they were going to do, is that they're just going to run up this hill and sit there. Because that's just kind of what the AI tells it to do. Because assaulting up a hill is awful. So making the assumption that they're not going to come down and fight me, we will just move our dudes. Alright. Yeah, they're just going to sit up here. Okay, so the reason that the AI is doing this is because the bows, when they're on a hill, they get extra range, if that makes sense, because they're firing downhill. So they get extra range, their range is extended. I don't know why I clarified it like that, because that's what extra range means. But anyways, let's see. So, you know what? Fuck it. We'll just charge these Yari up the hill. And then the Bow Ashigari charge up the hill there, and my general will come over here. You might be wondering why I'm setting my general over there, so that he can swing in the side and attack from the side. Now we have these light cavalry. Now the light cavalry have spears, which is a bit of a problem, because if they decide that they want to go after my general instead of standing there like a good general, my general is going to be at a bit of a disadvantage, because spears have the advantage over horses. So we're going to take the peasants. Whoops. That's something I'm going to have to watch out for in the future. Anyways, so if we take our spears, I'm going to send my samurai to attack the cav immediately, but the peasants, in sort of an attempt to...
Hidden units, my lord.
Yeah, there we go. So, attack the bowmen, and it looks like they're not retreating the bowmen for some reason. And then, of course, my bowmen are now attacking the cavalry. You guys gonna... There we go. There they go. And then, so we have... The samurai have been stopped by bow peasants, in assumedly to prevent me from getting at their general. However, I'm going to ram my general up their general's ass. So, if I can manage it, because it looks like they've pulled out their general anyway. Let's just get us closer to the combat and see what happens. So we have the 2 peasant units coming after here. So this is the crunch. Now this is where I think my skills in Total War hit their more or less their limits, because once the crunch happens, I'm more or less just waiting now to see what happens next. Now I can charge in here. Let's see what happens. And I think this is part of why I don't use cavalry as much, because I just don't use it right. They weren't paying attention anyway. They were facing the wrong way. Cool.
Is in grave danger, my lord.
No, he's not. Just chill. Okay, so these green bars you see above the unit flag, that's their morale. That's how happy they are. 2 of my favorite YouTubers who play this game, they start referring to it as being super sad. They're getting sad, which is more or less what it is, because that's how kind of morale works, is how upset, in sort of a vague idea of upsetness you are. So I'm going to pull my general back out of this, which they seem 100% fine with. They don't want to fight me anyway. Then the archers are running up because they're trying to get... Okay, so I told the archers to attack the light cav, their general. And since he moved back down the hill, my archers couldn't see him, so they ran up the hill trying to come after him. Let's see some fighting. Cool. You see that? Okay, so their dudes have broken and are running away. So I'm gonna send my samurai after the horsemen again. And then I'm gonna send my general over here. No, more over here first, to try and run him into the back of these. Okay, so their general is just trying to get away. So since their general's just trying to get away, in general, I'm going to move you guys this way, point you. So if you come over here, come around behind, and then charge. Probably should have waited. Oh no, that totally works. You can see the spears. So charging horses into spears, not really a good idea. However, in case you just didn't notice, the spears were facing the wrong damn way. So now my horses just ran straight through because, well, the spears were not there to really stop me. And there we go. The battle is won. If it wasn't for all my just sort of rambling on. Jesus, this game gets really loud sometimes. Like, these sound levels are really inconsistent. Oh, Jesus. Alright, anyways. So, that was the basics of... I really hope that I'm not as quiet as I think I am, that it's mostly my headset that's doing this to me. Or, well, you know, the noise coming out of my headset doing this to me, making me think oh no, all the noise just went away, and I'm looking at the thing and it looks like, yeah, like the noise just got cut in half. Anyway, so that was the basics. Oh, cool. Okay, so I didn't know that this panel existed. That's really cool. I assume that's in the basic. That might be in the basic game. I don't know. I never really looked at it because, you know, it's not until you start showing other people that you start noticing a lot of things you never really noticed before. So this is the battle results. How many people you fielded, how many people you lost, how many people were killed, how many people are left of the army, and then how many people you killed. Now this is only really important when you have more than just 2 armies, because otherwise, you know, my enemy lost 558 soldiers, and I killed 558 soldiers. Well, if there was a discrepancy there, he'd be like, what just happened? So this one is, I didn't know they did this in these games, but this shows the experience gain, if any at all. This shows how many were deployed were in the unit to start the battle, how many people were killed during the battle. So I lost 13 men in my general's unit, but they gained so much experience. It looks like generals just gained shit tons of experience really quick. And then Yari Samurai lost not too much comparatively. The Yari Ashigaru, one of them lost a lot. Like, wow. Oh, he must have been the first one in. So when I was charging up the hill, one unit, probably this one, got there first, and this unit got there second. So since this unit was first, that's probably why this unit lost so much more than this unit. And then, of course, the Bo Ashigaru never took any damage. No one actually attacked them because they didn't have any. Because by the time that my Bo Ashigaru were in range of their Bo Ashigaru, their Bo Ashigaru were more, worried about the spearmen charging up their face. And then this is how much each person killed. The Yari Samurai taking pride of taking first place in this, having killed 231 of the 558 enemies slain. Jesus. Alright. Alright, so I completed the quest, that's what that was. And I get Dreaded Force, which instills fear in enemy units, which reduces their morale, because they're afraid of me. Anyways, so that was the basics, and that was it for this session. And it's closer to 50 minutes, Jesus Christ. Alright, anyways, so, I have no way to cut this in half because, well, like I said, this is more of a test of recording and putting it up. So, if anyone sees this, cool. If no one sees this, awesome. We'll see how this goes in the future. Till then, later.